All right, so welcome to this deep dive, everybody. We're going to add a little, I guess you could say color to your vocabulary.
Yeah.
We're going to explore those English idioms, phrasal verbs,
Yeah.
those expressions that can give your conversations a little bit of extra oomph.
Yeah. We'll uncover how they work, their origins, and how you can use them to really speak effectively.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we're going to dive into 4 items today. We have bail out,
Okay.
bear the brunt. We've got on the up and up,
Ooh,
and then the word quaint.
I like it.
And I think you might be surprised at the stories that are behind these seemingly simple phrases.
It's really amazing how much history is woven into the language that we use every single day.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start with bailout. We often hear about governments bailing out industries.
Yes.
Like when they had to prevent the airline industry from collapsing during the pandemic.
Right.
That implies a financial rescue, doesn't it?
Yes, but the origin is surprisingly literal. Bailout comes from the nautical world.
Oh.
So imagine, desperately scooping water out of a sinking boat.
Ah.
That's the original image.
Oh, I see. So the idea of a financial bailout, like rescuing a company from going under, connects directly to that image of like frantically bailing to stay afloat.
Exactly. And then over time, it broadened to encompass any rescue from a dire situation.
Right, right. So instead of bailout, we could say, assist or rescue or even support,
Yeah, depending on the context.
depending on the context. Exactly.
Yes. And if you want like a memory trick, think of a bucket frantically bailing water out of that sinking boat.
I love that. That's great. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that'll stick with you.
Okay, let's move on to bear the brunt.
Okay.
And think about small businesses during a recession.
Right.
They often bear the brunt of the economic downturn.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a sense of hardship there,
Yeah.
of taking on the most difficult part of a situation.
Right. The word brunt itself paints a vivid picture. It comes from Middle English,
Mm-hmm.
and it means like a sharp blow, an attack.
Ooh.
So to bear the brunt is to absorb the main force of that blow.
Oh. So it's like being on the front lines and taking the hardest hits?
Yes.
Right.
Think of a sturdy building facing a powerful storm. And the building withstands the full force of the wind and rain, so it's bearing the brunt of the elements.
It's enduring the worst of it. We can also use words like withstand, shoulder, or even absorb to convey a similar meaning.
Exactly.
Okay. Now let's lighten the mood with on the up and up.
Ooh, yes.
This one's intriguing, isn't it?
It is.
Because it's got a double meaning.
Yes.
It can describe something that's honest and genuine, but also something that's improving or getting better.
Exactly. Like imagine a company experiencing a surge in success after launching a new product. We could say their business is on the up and up.
So in that context, it means they're progressing on an upward trajectory.
Right, exactly. But here's where it gets interesting. The meaning of honesty and integrity was added later, in the early 20th century.
Oh, wow.
Originally, it only referred to that upward progress.
So the meaning itself kind of evolved.
Yeah.
Like it became more transparent, like we can clearly see the progress because it's honest and above board.
I like that. You know what? It's like a plane taking off.
Oh, yeah.
It's moving upwards, gaining altitude, and you can see it so clearly against the sky.
That's a great way to remember it.
Right.
On the up and up implies both positive momentum, but also transparency.
Yes, exactly. And when you're choosing synonyms, we need words that capture both of those meanings.
Right.
For honesty, we have genuine, trustworthy, legitimate. And for improvement, we could use like ascending, progressing, or flourishing.
Great. Okay. Ready for our final word.
I am.
Let's get quaint. So imagine strolling through a charming village.
Okay.
And you come across this unique little shop, right? The whole atmosphere feels so quaint.
Quaint has such a lovely ring to it, doesn't it? It evokes a sense of charm. It's something unique and appealing, often with a touch of nostalgia.
Yeah. But it's interesting that it originates from the Latin word cognitus, which means known.
Known, yeah.
So how did known evolve into quaint?
It shifted over time, passing through Old French, gradually taking on the sense of something familiar yet unusual.
Oh. So it's like Quaint things are charming because they feel both familiar and unique at the same time.
Yeah.
There's like a delightful surprise
Right.
in discovering something special and unexpected.
Exactly. Think of like a picturesque village scene,
Yeah.
maybe with cobblestone streets and colorful flower boxes.
And the aroma of fresh bread from a bakery, it's like stepping into a charming painting.
Exactly. Synonyms that capture that positive, charming feeling include like picturesque, charming, delightful, even whimsical.
I like that. These four expressions really show us like how much depth and personality
Yeah.
these idioms and things can add to the English language.
Right. It's not just words, they're like little stories.
Right.
They're glimpses into history and culture.
Yeah, and using them in your everyday conversations, it can make your conversations more engaging, colorful.
Yeah. It's about finding that right shade of meaning to express yourself effectively. Plus, understanding their origins adds a whole new level of appreciation for the language.
It does, yeah.
It's like unlocking a secret code.
Right.
It reveals those hidden connections and layers of meaning.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll continue our deep dive into these really fascinating expressions.
So before the break, we were discussing quaint and how its meaning has evolved over time. But it also connects to a broader cultural fascination with the past, doesn't it?
I think you're right. Quaint often implies like a romanticized view of times gone by, like those cobblestone streets, and charming shops. They evoke a sense of nostalgia, right? Like a longing for, I guess, a simpler time.
It's interesting, we tend to associate quaintness with older, more traditional things.
Right.
So is it a way of preserving the past? Or maybe escaping the complexities of modern life?
It's probably a bit of both, isn't it? We find comfort in the familiar, but also that sense of wonder in the uniqueness of something from a different era.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like these quaint objects and places
Right.
offer a glimpse into a different way of life.
And I guess that brings us back to the idea that language itself is constantly evolving, reflecting our changing perspectives and cultural values.
Absolutely. Words are never static. They carry layers of meaning, historical baggage, cultural nuances.
Right. Well, let's go back to bailout for a second. While it started with that simple image of, bailing water out of a boat, it's become a much more complex term and even controversial, especially in the context of government intervention in the economy.
Right. The idea of a government bailing out a struggling company or industry, that's often met with, mixed reactions.
Yeah.
Some see it as, necessary to prevent a wider economic damage, while others argue that, it rewards risky behavior and creates an unfair advantage.
It raises interesting questions, doesn't it, about responsibility, the role of government in a free market.
Exactly.
When is a bailout justified? What are the potential consequences, both positive and negative?
It's a delicate balance, On the one hand, these bailouts can prevent job losses, help stabilize the economy.
Right.
But on the other hand, they can create a sense of moral hazard
Yeah.
where companies might take on more risk, knowing that the government might come to the rescue.
And it's not just limited to businesses either. This idea of a bailout can extend to individuals as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, think about student loan forgiveness.
Yes.
Some people argue it's a necessary bailout, for those burdened with debt, while others view it as unfair, to those who've already paid off their loans.
It's a complex issue,
Yeah.
No easy answers, but it shows how a seemingly simple idiom like bailout can, get entangled with social and political debates.
It's a reminder that language is never neutral.
Exactly.
The words that we use, they carry weight, and they reflect our values, our beliefs.
Yeah. Now, think about bear the brunt. It's interesting to consider how different groups within society often bear the brunt of, various challenges, whether it's economic hardship, climate change, or social injustice.
That's a really powerful point. It's often the most vulnerable populations that end up facing the harshest consequences.
Absolutely. Think about the impact of climate change.
Yeah.
It's often the low-lying coastal communities and island nations that are bearing the brunt of rising sea levels, those extreme weather events.
Or consider the economic impact of, things like automation and globalization. It's often blue-collar workers and, those in manufacturing jobs who really feel the brunt of the job losses, the economic displacement.
Yeah.
With these examples, they highlight the inequalities, those systemic issues that exist within our society. It's crucial to recognize, who's disproportionately bearing the brunt of these challenges and work towards more equitable solutions.
Okay. Let's shift gears back to on the up and up.
Okay.
So this whole idea of honesty and transparency, I mean, that's become increasingly important, hasn't it? Especially in the context of business and politics.
Absolutely. With, the rise of social media and the 24-hour news cycle, there's a growing demand for accountability, authenticity.
It's like the public has become much more discerning, more skeptical. Of those in positions of power, we want to know that the people we trust, the companies that we support, and the leaders that we elect are truly on the up and up.
And then